After completing our hello world program, let's understand how we write a program in Python. While writing a program, you should always make sure about your indentation. In other programming languages, we use indentation only for like loop perspective of a program, like readability. But Python uses indentation for uh, finding out what's a block of code. So identifying a block of code is done. Identification of block of code is done by indentation of the code. So how do we set an example of that? So even though we are not yet done with the conditions, but let me put up a simple if statement. Let's say if 100 is greater than 20, we know that. And okay, you don't need a parenthesis. Okay, so 100 is greater than 20 colon, and then here there is an indentation, and I'm just saying print 100 is bigger number. So this is a complete Python code, and I can execute that, and I will be able to see 100 is bigger. But if I move the indentation back to the original space, then there will be an error. So you can see that if I save this code, I'm getting an error, which is like encounter print at line 4 column 1 was expecting an indent. So indent is absolutely important. So I'm going back to the indentation, and you are good here. So remember that Python identifies a indented block, okay, as a block of code. Good with it? So now the next step is, how do we define variables? So you define variables directly. In Python, there is no variable definitions that this is integer or this is string. Okay, you can define any name, any variable, like I say age equals, and then you define value 5. Okay, I can say name equals, and you can define the value Rishi. Okay, and you can use this value in your prints. So you can just print age, print name. Save that, and you will be able to execute it, and you should be able to see the values here. There is even not a defined value. So if I'm saying age is 5 now, and after printing I said age is 5, this is also okay. That means I'm changing an integer variable to string, and that is also acceptable. Okay, so and you can actually combine now the value of age, here the plus operator, combine two strings and say age. So now what's going to happen, it will print that particular age now. So you can see now the value of age is 5. So see here, I'm using age variable as integer. After that it converts to string. So that is completely possible in Python. So there is no defined what I can say memory space, or what, there is no defined data type for a particular variable. So let's write that down in a comment. How do we write comment in Python? So you say hash variables do not hold a data type. This is a comment. So this particular thing which I have started with hash is a comment. If you need a documentation comment, okay, then or you generally call it as doc strings, which are used in many programming languages to create a documentation. You can use triple quotes. So you say 1, 2, 3 and start a triple quote. So this is doc string or documentation string, and this can go, and you can just say multi-line, because you should be able to write the documentation in multiple lines and then close that with triple quotes, and that completes. Remember that whatever you write in a comment or a doc string is completely ignored by your compiler. So if you run and execute this code, there will not be any changes in your output. Okay, remember about variables. The name of the variable indicates the experience of a Python developer. Remember that the variables like x, y, abc, first var, all those things are college level variables, and we do not recommend that. Having a proper variable name with camel casing. So if you remember this, if you know this, this is called camel casing. So camel case. Let's start with a small case and new words new words with capital. Okay, so what's gonna happen? You will be seeing a camel casing. So even if the variables having a bigger names is completely okay. Instead of x, y, z, use camel casing. In variables, in so normal programming language variables applicable to Python also. So you can start with the alphabet, you can start with the underscore. You cannot start with a number. You can have number in your variable after alphabets. So you can say age 1, age 2, age 3, age 4, but you cannot say 1 age 1 2. That's wrong. Okay, so this is invalid. Okay, if I say this is invalid. This is completely valid. Okay, okay, one more thing, you can start with underscore. That is completely okay, no issues with that, and nobody gonna complain that. Okay, of course, but then this variable is undefined, so you have to use this anyway. So you can do you can start with underscore. You cannot start with numbers. You can start with alphabets. You can use numbers later. You can use underscore later. Okay, and variable names generally follows camel casing. So please use camel casing for variable names. Okay, so what are the things we learned? Python respects indentation. uh, then second thing is defining a variable. Variable do not have data types. We saw comments and we saw docstrings. So let's take a step further and continue our journey of Python. Thank you.